Hi guys, this is Ginjo from London Source, back again for Bleach discussion of Chapter 11. Everything But the Rain, one of my favorite chapters. On this chapter, we get so many amazing reveals. We get to see Ichigo's mom. We get to see Ichigo's dad. We get to find out about why Ichigo has such mixed spiritual pressures, who his dad is in the Soul Society, who his mom is. In the last episode, they spoke about the memory of his spiritual pressure, his roots. We get to see all of that in this chapter and a bit of flashback. It's more like a flashback chapter, which answers loads of questions in the episode. So let's get in. So first of all, we pick it up after the amazing post-credit scene on the last episode, whereby Uri Ushida was approached. Somebody was following him, literally was approached by one of the senior members of the Quincy Army, the Stan Ritter. He didn't say anything. We just saw him standing right beside him. We don't know if they're going to recruit him at this point in time, but it seems like they've approached him as a Quincy too as well. So we cut back to Owetsu in the Soul Palace after he sent Ichigo packing back to the world of living, told him that he's no use to them. He needs to go and find out, what's literally the deal with his spiritual pressure and his memory and his roots. Everyone's been talking about this roots, even Yoha back. Everyone's been talking to Ichigo about this roots. Then Renji was saying, he was saying to Renji that, you noticed, haven't you, even Ichigo fought harder than you, but he hasn't been chosen by the Asoshi. And regardless of, at this point, I had to stop it, because regardless of what he did, he would never be chosen, because he's not a real Soul Reaper. He's conflicted, his souls. And Nimaya went on to explaining about the Asoshi and all the blades he's forged since the inception of the Soul Society. And I was thinking, how old is this guy? He said every sword that he's ever created for all the members of the Soul Society since the beginning of the Soul Society. This guy must be older than Yamamoto, even as old as the Zero Division itself. He said he knows where every single sword is that had belonged to a Soul Reaper. Even Soul Reapers that have died, even outlaws that have become Soul Reapers that have stolen blades, Asoshi blades, from the corpse of a Soul Reaper, such as Kimpachi, Zaraki, even Squad Zero members. He knows where every single sword is. So when he tells Ichigo it's not going to work, he has to do it the right way. He had to do it the right way. And then we cut to the intro, Anything But the Rain. I really, really love this episode. I've read the chapter. It's one of the chapters that sets a very, very good tone in regarding why Ichigo, every time they're talking about his mom, he feels so sad. And it's just a very brilliant, mellowed down, chilled episode that tells the brilliant storytelling that Bleach deserves, really. So yeah, we start by Ichigo coming back right in front of his family clinic. And I think he was waiting for his dad. And he wants to go and talk to his dad. Obviously, he already knows his dad is a Soul Reaper at this point, but I think he told his dad that he's not going to pressure his dad to tell him anything about it till his dad is ready. And just before his dad came out, Ichigo seems to have chickened out, so he just ran off, and his dad just popped his head out, and he's like, that punk, he ran off. And it seems like Ichigo ran off to his part-time work. He had a boss that he's doing seems like he's doing a bit of part-time work, and he ran off to his boss. She's like his friend and his kind of like elder that he kind of talks to. It's called an unagi shop. I think in Japan that means like extra work or any kind of spare work. So that shop that people just come and give odd jobs shop, yeah. So he works there part-time. It seems like she's always moaning and having a go at him for never being available when she needs him for work. But yeah, it seems like she's giving him food, let him have a shower because he seems all gloom and down. And she gave him food, he's eating, and drying out his clothes and telling him, we're adults, you can always come and talk to me. She's quite a nice lady, to be honest, even as a boss. I mean, I remember my bosses always like work. But suddenly she hears a sound. It seems like Ishin has turned into a Soul Reaper and followed Ichigo there. and literally appeared in front of Ichigo in the room. But obviously, because she's a human, she can't see him. He's in his Soul Reaper form. And I think he told Ichigo to go out. Then Ichigo just said, I'm leaving, to the lady, because she can't see his dad. And he followed his dad outside, and he just literally left. When he left, I think him and his dad went to somewhere private. I think it's their house. And the dad said, do you remember that time that you told me that when I'm ready, I should tell you, you're not going to pressure me to tell you anything? And the dad literally said, I know everything that's been going on with you, my son. Even Aizen, what happened with Aizen, what happened with the Zero Division, how the Soul Society has been destroyed by the Quincy's. I know everything. Ichigo got a bit upset, as usual, and he kind of pushed his dad a bit. And he said, listen to me, this is the time. I need to tell you everything. And he says everything. So obviously we drift back to that flashback scene about who he is and who his mother is. So we cut back to the scene of about 1,000 years back, and we see Squad 10 barracks, and we see our very own lieutenant of Squad 10, a younger Rangiku Matsumoto, looking for the captain of Squad 10. She kept on looking for the captain of Squad 10 in the barracks, and yeah, there he was on the tree sleeping, slacking off, and she kicked the tree. Here he was falling down. A younger Isshin Kurosaki, then known as Isshin Shiba. So yes, a big reveal again. Isshin is from the Shiba clan. We did find out that. So Ichigo is actually related to Ganju and Kukaku Shiba and Kaien Shiba. No wonder Rukia liked him, because he looks a lot like Kaien. We should have made the connection there. But yeah, here he was, and she's like, why are you slacking off? We've been looking for you, just hiding in the tree. So even then, he was the captain. Then we cut off into the barracks, into the office of the captain. And also, we see a younger Captain Hitsugaya. Actually, he was the third seat then. He looked very, very young. And everyone was calling him quite a like hilarious and a bit of like banter to kind of mellow the mood a bit. Isshin picking up Hitsugaya, saying, Prodigy, you're going to become a captain in no time, and stuff like that. And yeah, a bit of comedic relief whereby Isshin was asking about his food, that someone ate his leftovers and stuff like that. Lieutenant Hisugaya at that point was talking to him about a report they received from the research division about Soul Reapers dying in the world of the living, Karakura town at that point. That was Karakura town at that point. And a few Soul Reapers have died. And immediately as Isshin heard that, he said, okay, I'm going to investigate now, I'm going. And they wanted to follow him, but he said he's going alone. He doesn't want anybody to follow him. Obviously, he doesn't want anybody to get hurt. It's quite a dangerous report. Nobody's heard what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on. So Isshin, he looks like he's not one of those that follow rules. He looks like he's not your conventional Soul Reaper. I mean, it makes sense. He is Ichigo's dad, to be fair. But yeah, he storms off. He appears in the world of the living, Karakura town, at that time. And yeah, he meets up with two Soul Reapers that were assigned to kind of guard Karakura town, what Rukia was meant to be doing. That's what they were doing then. And two of them. And Isshin actually came and he said he'll be taking over today, and they should all take a day off, and just when it starts raining, because apparently that hollow that normally kills people attacks when it starts raining, so they should all take a break, and Isshin is gonna kind of be the lookout for the city at that day. So after that we cut off into the scene showing the Ishida family. And we see finally Masaki Kurosaki, Ichigo's beautiful mom. She looks quite young then. She looks a bit like Ichigo. She looks quite young. The big reveal comes. Masaki Kurosaki is actually a Quincy. And we hear Uryu's grandmom talking to her and saying that they took her in because she's what we call an edged Quincy. What that means is a true blood Quincy to the Ishida family, because the Ishidas actually are true blood Quincy's too as well. So apparently the gig was to take her in so they would make her marry Uryu's dad, because they're all pure blood Quincy's. They have to kind of stay together and stuff like that. And she was being hard on her, to be honest. She looked a bit down. But yeah, apparently all her family members have died. It seemed like she came from a very, very strong family. Apparently in Japan, you take your mom's family name when you marry. I think that's what I heard. Someone on the comments said that to me, to be honest. But yeah, that's what's meant to happen. So we see a maid-looking character which looks a lot like Uryu. Her name is Katagiri. Apparently, she's a Gemish Quincy. What that means is like a Quincy that's like that serves the pure blood Quincies. And all of a sudden, we see Ishin on top of a roof, and we hear this enormous. It starts raining literally, and beautiful panel, beautiful animation. Honestly, we hear the spiritual pressure change, and Masaki completely noticed that there's a soul reaper. Like, she could literally feel the spiritual pressure. That there's a soul reaper out there, and there's another powerful spiritual pressure too as well. And immediately we cut to Ichigo's dad when he felt that other spiritual pressure of the hollow. When it started raining, he completely raised his spiritual pressure and got his sword out, ready to go all out. And in a blink of an eye, the two Soul Reapers that he told to go, they were just lurking there. They got sliced. And we see the villain. It's actually a black hollow. It's like Ichigo's Vasto Lorde form, but completely black. Its hole in its chest, it looks like a Soul Reaper, but its hole in its chest is partially covered by flesh. So it's kind of a hollow, but not hollow. We get to find out Ishin completely notices that. And then we cut back to Masaki. Masaki immediately storms out. She's left. She said she wants to go and find out what's going on. She wants to go and help because obviously she thinks that the Soul Reapers can't handle this. And Uryu's dad stops her and says, "No, what are you doing? You should know better. As a true blood Quincy, we never ever go out there till a Soul Reaper has died. And even after that, we pure blood Quincy's don't go. We have to give the task to Gemish Quincy's to go and handle it, such as Katagiri and stuff like that. We don't take our position lightly. We don't waste our blood lightly." And she got pissed off. And this is where Ichigo gets it from. Well, if we do that, I would never forgive myself if someone else dies in the future completely. Then we cut off to Ichigo's dad. The first reveal we see, Ichigo's dad's sword, it's called Engetsu. And he literally releases it, burn Engetsu, and it's complete flames. It's absolutely amazing. Beautiful animation. Honestly, the studio, again, has done this justice. But yeah, it seems like the fight has started with him and this Black Hollow. It seems like Ichigo Kurosaki's dad is very strong, to be fair. He's taken on the Hollow. His sword is out completely. They're fighting, and it seems like he's about to overpower the Hollow. What happened is that behind Ichigo's dad, somebody slashes Ichigo's dad from the back. And Ichigo's dad eventually he just literally noticed that the slash on his back was made by a Soul Reaper, and he understood that there was a traitor that was collaborating with this Black Hollow, because there's no way a Black Hollow like this would survive in the world of the living without the Soul Society knowing its existence. So there must be a Soul Reaper that's doing this, and especially that they've slashed him. Apparently, we see who it is. It's our boy Aizen. Aizen has been playing games since olden days, man. We've seen the Pendulum arc, we've seen flashbacks, so we know. So it's Aizen, Kaname, and Gin. All of them are wearing Urahara's. We see in the flashback, Urahara made the special suits, kind of raincoat that can hide your spiritual pressure. It makes it impossible for you to detect. So apparently they slashed him and kind of hid their spiritual pressure. So he doesn't know who it was, but he knows a Soul Reaper slashed him. Apparently the reason why they slashed him because his Zanpakuto was a problem in Getsu, so he can't be able to release his full Zanpakuto because it kind of restrains his body, or it puts a burden on his body somewhat. But yeah, he couldn't do anything. He kept on fighting the Hollow, and it seems like the Hollow was about to overpower him. And then the most epic scene in the whole fight, it was raining and Masaki came out, literally. And she starts her before you know it, she brings out her Quincy bow, very very similar to Uryu's bow. And what happens is she starts shooting at the hollow, and the hollow was so quick she couldn't even get. I think the hollow was using what's it called, Sornido, because that's what hollow used to use, like Soul Reaper's flash steps. She couldn't hit him at all, and the best scene ever, she just completely put back her bow, and she opened her arms, literally opened her arms, and like she was gonna give, the hollow was coming right at her, like she was gonna give it a hug. And and I'm like, what the heck? But what she wanted to do was the most epic thing. She literally embraced the hollow, and it bit her on the shoulder, and she grabbed his head with one hand, and she made her bow with the other hand, and she completely annihilated his head. She gave him a headshot, and she said, I got you now, and completely annihilated his head. Boom, through the head. The hollow exploded. Aizen was completely taken. He was like, what the heck? Everyone was shocked. But yeah, absolutely amazing scene. She's such a badass too as well. At this point, Ishin was wasted, almost at death doors, and he was just laying on the ground. It was completely raining, and she came to him literally saying, are you okay? And he was like, who's this girl? That came to help me. She's a Quincy. I've never seen a Quincy. She was kind of scared because the Quincy's and the Soul Reapers never had a good relationship before. And, they're meant to hate each other. The Quincy's are meant to hate each other. The Soul Reapers are meant to hate the Quincy's. So she didn't want to say who she was, but she just bit the bullet because she was quite an oddball too as well. She was not like your normal Quincy's that follows rules. He's not like your normal Soul Reaper that follows rules. And she just said to him, I'm a Quincy. And his reaction completely surprised her. And he said, oh my God, that's so cool. I've never met a Quincy before. I didn't know this was how you guys... And he just said, thank you for saving my life, which Soul Reapers are normally arrogant. Quincy's are arrogant too as well. And she started laughing. And that scene there where he was on the ground, that she saved his life, that's literally the first time Ichigo's mom and dad met completely. And yeah, that's the starting of it. Aizen was just hovering there and looking at the whole thing. And Kaname Tosin was like, should I eliminate her? She's not part of the plan. And Aizen was like, I like incidents that haven't happened. This is very interesting because Aizen is like a scientist. So it seems like Aizen already knew something was going to happen between them. It's quite unusual. He wants to see how it's going to play out with this abnormally, with the Squad 10 captain, with this new Quincy girl. And, in regarding Ichigo's birth too as well. So that answers a lot of questions in regarding how Ichigo is like that. That hollow looks exactly that she killed, looks exactly like Ichigo's hollow form. So that answers a lot of questions there for yourself. But yeah, very, very good chapter. We see Uryu and Katagiri come out. Uryu's dad and Katagiri, the servant lady, come out getting ready to battle, and they're like, okay, there's nothing for us to do. It seems like she's fine. Katagiri's fine. She's doing okay. Masaki's fine. Obviously, they came out to save Ichigo's mom, to make sure she's doing okay. And Katagiri, the maid, she looks a lot like Uri. I think what might have happened, I don't want to spoil it, but it seems like, obviously, we know that Ichigo's mom didn't marry Uryu's dad, so it seems like Uryu somehow, because that didn't happen, married the maid, and that's how Uryu was born. Because she seems very sad every time he's trying to protect this girl that doesn't understand the value of being a Quincy. Seems like she's always sad. She had a sad look on her face. That she always says, "You're so kind," So it seems like that's what happened. So it seems like that's where Uryu and Ichigo's mom literally are, and how Ishin and Ichigo's mom met too as well. So we get a bit of a flashback there too as well. And yeah, very, very amazing episode, very brilliant episode. It gives us a lot. We see Aizen back at the lab saying to Kaname, should calm down. This is very unexpected, but he knows that there's obviously more they can learn to it in regarding what's going to happen in the future. And I think because of that, that's how Ichigo was born, and and I think this makes sense because when Ichigo was displaying power, Aizen said to him, I remember, and everyone was like, what? what is this guy? Who does this guy think he is, thinking he knows everything? Because he said, I know you, Ichigo, even before you were born. I know how you are, and I've studied you, and I've actually... So it seems like he's been Aizen's experimental subject from the beginning, even before he was born. So Aizen knew about him, which was really badass. Aizen is top of any shonen villain you can ever wish for. I mean, he's amazing. I mean, this Quincy King is amazing, but Aizen is up there. Very, very nice episode. Very amazing episode. You know, slow, a bit of backstory. But yeah, we'll be reviewing more of Bleach episodes as it comes. Obviously, I'm going to be doing it for yourselves, bringing it out. If you like, please like. If you like this, if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And we'll do more content for you guys. Thank you very much.